let's talk about this trade deadline, baby. I have some thoughts. First of all, let me begin by saying this. Is it just me, or was this year's trade deadline not only the most dramatic trade deadline we've ever seen, but also the least dramatic trade deadline we've ever seen? Is it just me? Because, man, it was like, boom, pow, chick, bah, and then like nothing, right? It was like Kyrie, KD, Russell Westbrook, and then Luke Kennard. You know, it was like, you're like, oh yeah, this trade deadline is going to be fucking lit. And then you're like, oh, Reggie Jackson. Okay. Oh, my guy, Matisse Thybulle. Oh, okay. Like when James Wiseman is one of the more impactful trade deadline moves at the deadline, which ended up being scandalous, by the way. There's this craziness in that 4-team trade. But when you've got names like James Wiseman and Matisse Thybulle and Reggie Jackson and a bunch of, I would consider them to be role players getting moved after what we got was the main course. You don't give us Brussels sprouts after the steak. You don't do that because it's very disappointing. We don't get dessert and steak and lobster, and then it's like, oh yeah, also we have the Caesar salad for you. Like, no, that's not how that's what Luke Kennard was. So Kyrie obviously demands the trade. I was in Arizona, could not really record as much as I wanted to, but he set everything into overdrive, right? It was like, oh my God, Kyrie's doing it. Where there's no time left on the clock. They have to move him. Where will he go? Will it be the Lakers? It will not be the Lakers. No one wants Russell Westbrook at this moment. 72 hours later, he is in Dallas, and people are like, okay, so that move happens. No way Kevin Durant gets traded, right? Like, no way. There's not enough time. There's too many suitors. There's too much complexity. And enter my guy, who I am calling Big Balls, Matt Ishbia, with 1 T. Matt with 1 T. Newly minted owner of the Phoenix Suns. And he comes in and says, fuck it. We'll do this deal. So Kevin Durant, I don't know if you guys know this, had only one destination in mind. It was only Phoenix. It was Phoenix and only Phoenix the entire time. Comes to the front office and says, look, guys, I'm exhausted. I am happy to find a way to get excited about these new guys. And I'm willing to stick it out this year. But at the end of this year, can you guys just get me to Phoenix? Can you guys figure it out? Can you figure a way to make something happen? And so then they figure out maybe, just maybe, if we keep this on the DL, extra D and extra L, then maybe we get this thing done by the deadline, right? And Matt Ishbia, I don't know if you know this, friends with Joe Tsai. They've had each other's phone numbers. Matt Ishbia came to a bunch of Nets games, really to just kind of see what it's like to own a team. And the deal that James Jones turned down because Mikal Bridges was in that deal and Cam Johnson was in that deal and a bunch of unprotected firsts were in that deal, finally just said, you know what? Man, what do you think, Matt? And Matt was like, okay, what's the luxury tax? And they're like, they're just going to put us bad in the luxury tax. We're going to get like $40 million in the luxury tax. And our man, Robert Sarver, the scumbag that he is, the cheap scumbag he is, I think he had only gone to the luxury tax for a combined $17 million through the entire course of his ownership. So $40 million for Kevin Durant in the luxury tax. Everybody's like, oh my God, what's Ishbia going to say? And he was like, do it. Do it right now. Let's go. Absolutely. And then they were like, also, I know that we said we wanted Cam Johnson and we wanted Mikal and we wanted 4 first-round unprotecteds, but like, and we know that we said that was a deal, but we also kind of want Jay Crowder too. And they're like, that's enough. We're not doing the deal. See you later. And then Matt Ishbia goes to a meeting and he's sitting there and he's thinking about trading for John Collins, right? And that was the other deal that they had on the plate. Can we get John Collins? John Collins, nice player. He's been on the trade block for 4 or 5 years now. And he's like, man, Matt Ishbia knows what it's like to see the property. Because he's a mortgage guy. See your dream home and like balk at the price. You go to the next house and you're like, just don't like the bathroom. Closet, kind of tiny. This guy, John Collins, he happens to not be anywhere close to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant would move the needle. And so he calls up his fam, calls up James Jones. He says, you know what? I don't care that it's 1 a.m, East Coast Standard Time. Let's do the deal. So they hit up Joe Tsai, they hit up Sean Marks, and they're already driving away from the arena because they think the deal's dead. And then they go, skeet skirt, they hit a little U-turn, and they're like, let's do this thing. And at the crack of dawn, 1:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Kevin Durant to the Suns. Done deal. Holy shit. So why, though? The question is, why? Why does Kevin Durant only want to go to the Suns? Why was that the only place he wanted to go? I have answers. First and foremost, Kevin Durant loves some Devin Booker. Loves him. Apparently that relationship was a key piece of that move. All the way back to when he first got into the league, he told Ben Simmons in 2017 this. We called Devin Booker. We wanted Devin Booker in OKC. What? I wanted him. I love Book. He loves the game. He's a dog. He'll rough you up. He'll get into you. You better watch up for that boy because he's next. In 2017, he came out and said, Devin Booker's the next guy. He's the dog. I'm telling you, it's him. They also then bonded during the Olympics when they played in Tokyo. Remember, it was like locked down. You had no ability to see Tokyo. You had no ability to do anything but to go to the events that you were regulated to do. So him and Devin Booker were like peas and carrots, like white on rice. Got very, very close. Started saying to each other, what would it be like to play with each other in the NBA? Number two, he loves Monty Williams. Monty Williams, to him, is one of the best coaches in the NBA. Got to know him as an assistant for OKC. Monty Williams was an assistant when Kevin Durant was playing for the Thunder. Also was an assistant coach for Team USA. Kevin Durant thinks he's a leader, thinks he's a good teacher. And he says, I'm excited that he's back into coaching and walking these sidelines again. I got to know the type of man he was. His coaching style is what it is because of the stuff that he's been through as a person and how he looks at life in general. So really good friends with the marquee star, really close with the coach and has a relationship with him. And then what about him and Chris Paul? Chris Paul and KD played together in 2012 for Team USA as well. They bonded in that moment. And in 2020, Kevin Durant defended Chris Paul as a Hall of Famer, saying that he was already a Hall of Famer even if he never won a championship. Of course, he does go at it with Chris Paul's older brother because who doesn't? And so then Kevin Durant becomes a Sun, and we're thinking, oh boy, we are off to the races. What else is going to happen? Where's Pascal going to go? Where's OG going to go? Where's Fred going to go? And then the rest of the deadline, let's be honest, was fucking terrible. It was trash. It wasn't exactly what we were hoping for. We were 2 days short of the deadline, and everybody was like, man, what's it going to be? And then you get there, and it's like very disappointing. What happened with OG? What happened with Pascal? What happened with Chris Middleton, who was in the news that he might get moved? John Collins was in the news that he would, when is he not? John Collins was in the news that he would get moved. So not a single star outside of Kevin Durant was, after the Kevin Durant trade happened. After he broke the internet while you slept, nothing happened ever since.